に使命をかけて燃える街にあとわずか届く叫びを耳にして帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマン十字を組んで狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んで流星パンチ近くに立ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマン
Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 46. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
Happy anniversary at the time of recording.
Happy anniversary to us.
Woo!
I'm also joined by Brad.
Jiro, what the fuck are you going on about women and children? You're a child, first of all.
Jiro has been picking up some things from Go. Go's been teaching him about women.
I thought you were going to say Saburo. I think Saburo maybe taught him a thing or two as well.
I think he's just learning it from society.
Yeah, coming up this week, we have Kishida's completely unjustifiable doubt. We have, which I'll get to. You will see. I have noted 2 incidents of Kishida being a hater for literally no fucking reason. We have got my realization that there's a map in the background at the map base under the logo. And we have got the entirety of Japan having its radio turned off except for one kid.
Yeah.
All of that is to come. Before we get into that, I have done 2 things. One thing of note is I finished all of Armored Core 6. I did the new Game Plus stuff. I did all of it.
How are you feeling about it?
Really good.
Nice.
Really good game. Very good video game.
I need to wrap that shit up and join you in full completion land.
It's very funny that I'm like such a weird kind of doubter about the direction that it went compared to what I wanted from Armored Core, and then it made me play through it 3 times, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I get it. I did this. Yeah, all right, you're right. It is good. It's just this is just like the most like game trying to convince me it's good, and it's like, yes, you have convinced me. Well done. You're a good video game. Big fan of Armored Core 6. Still, multiple like shoulder. I was like towards the end, I was cycling through a few different options in terms of like, because I was always like, I like to be dual wielding either the pistols or the fucking Zimmermans, then I was like, it was about like balancing that with my weight with shoulder stuff depending on the situation. I quite liked having double shotguns and then also having like double Gatling guns on my shoulders for anything outside of 10 meters away from me.
Did I tell you about me and my friend Johnson's M-Bond team name that we signed up for Frosty Faustina's M-Bond side tournament with?
You might have done, but I have forgotten if you have.
We were like, what's a good name? And then we settled on Dual Zimmermans.
Nice. That's a great yes. Dual Zimmerman's is living. That's life itself.
Shame about the nerf, but honestly, probably for the best. But
probably for the best. Still kills it.
Shame about the nerve. Me when I'm getting to a curry.
Yes. I also watched. There was a brand new, very serious real robot anime that came out, directed by Obari. Don't know who that is. Called Bang Bravern.
I think it's called Bang Bravern.
Yes. It's
according to the localizers.
Yeah. I mean, according to me, it's called Bang 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 Ba 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 Bang Bravern. Various combinations of that. Bravern, Bang 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 Bravern. That OP fucking rips. Bravern's fucking cool as shit. What a great anime.
Don't say too much because I do want to watch this.
I'm not. I'm stopping. Right, I'm just saying the anime fucking rules. Everyone immediately go watch the first 2 episodes of Bravern right now. The first episode, good. The second episode, very important. Very important that you watch the second episode of Bravern.
Yeah, I keep hearing that the second episode is like a big thing, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm very excited because I literally know nothing about this show going into it except like kind of creators' previous stuff. So
it's so good. Anime of the year. Anime of 2024. You heard it here first. It's January. Anime of the year.
Yeah.
Very good. Very, very big fan. And I can't say anything about it. All right. That's me. I'm like done because, funnily enough, I have not finished Pillars of Eternity since I started like last week.
Yeah. The audacity. Well, so as you two may be aware, my sleep schedule was a little off at the start of this week. And I spent a large part of the week getting that back to normal. We recorded the last batch of our podcast, by the way, after I had not slept for, I think it was about 24 hours. And then later at 5 a.m. the following morning, my time, Red was like, oh, I got done editing the podcast early, and then I started typing, and they immediately replied, why are you awake, in all caps? I did get a 5-hour nap in between then, and me sending those messages, but...
I was alarmed. I was very alarmed. I was, what the fuck are you doing?
So here's the genuine problem, too, is that I fully intended to sleep as soon as we were done with those podcasts because I was pretty exhausted. And then my friend was like, "Oh, Tekken World Tour Top 8 starting," and I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna not watch Tekken World Tour Top 8 for the final Tekken 7 tournament that they're gonna do before 8 releases." So then I watched that, and then I immediately crashed and went to bed for like 5 hours, and then woke up, and I was like, fuck, it's like 2 a.m. What the fuck am I doing? So I figured out getting my sleep schedule back to normal while also navigating work stuff. So didn't really have a ton going on this week. I streamed Tekken 6's awful beat-em-up story mode, and Tekken 7's less awful but still kind of weird story mode. And that was most of my time. But then I did sneak out a trip to the movie theater to go see the first Gurren Lagann compilation movie, Childhood's End. That was a compilation movie.
Mm-hmm. Why is that movie named after an Arthur C. Clarke novel?
I really don't think they spent too much time thinking about why they do that, if I'm being honest. It's not great. Just like first of all, that story does not condense well. There's some cool new animation and like new insert songs and stuff like that, and that's like neat or whatever, but outside of that, it's just a very horrendously put together version of that story. I I had a friend who I think saw it for the first time, who, you know, pretty big fan of the TV series or whatever, and was like, I was kind of impressed when, I guess I won't spoil it, but I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're probably familiar, but I'm not, I'll err on the side of caution, but there's a big death that happens early on in Gurren Lagann, and he was like, I can't believe that they crafted a compilation movie in a way that when that death happens, it's like, okay, but why should I care about that guy? And honestly, yeah,
Dharma Savvy.
it's a lot of the emotional beats really fall flat because it's just like they're relying so hard on you having seen the TV show, and you're going to see this thing as like, oh, it's like the thing I like, but slightly reanimated and all put together into one movie. And I genuinely feel that's what a lot of compilation movies are. I don't actually think they are meant to stand alone and catch like a new audience to be viewed in the theater. I think that's maybe what they started out as. Realistically, I genuinely think a lot of them made after like a certain point in anime history are just there as like a victory lap for, hey, we made a slightly cleaner animated like highlight reel of scenes people really like.
Yeah,
to get,
like a new translation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Tomino claims that that's fucking trying to get new people in. That's ridiculous. But yeah, it was, I'm not, like, mad I saw it in theaters. Okay, it was kind of weird, though. They didn't turn the lights off until halfway through, but I could have probably went back and, like, said, like, hey, like, the lights are still on. I didn't care enough to. So I watched half of Gurren Lagann in a theater with the lights on, and then suddenly halfway through, they turned it off.
That was me with The Rise of Skywalker, which really, I was genuinely sat there, like, I went with my, like, family, and my dad was like, someone should go tell them that, you know, they should turn the lights off. And I was sat there watching the movie on the screen, and I was like, well, I'm not for this.
Oh, what a piece of shit.
Anyway.
Okay.
Did you watch any better movies this week?
I watched. So Mel and I watched Gorath.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I still think it's better than Battle in Outer Space.
Yeah, I think it is more entertaining, at least.
I think it's okay. For an hour, it's kind of boring, and it's like, this is a lot of science-y, dumb bullshit about,
Oh, you want some sciencey dumb bullshit? Well,
listen,
we got the
okay.
movie for you.
Oh, is this Ichi no Tani the movie?
Kind of. So, Red.
Yes, that's me.
What if... So, first of all, I should state, I went into this movie thinking that Gorath was the name of a kaiju. I should preface, I did not know what this movie was about. So, to my surprise, Gorath is, in fact, a star that is hurtling towards Earth.
What would you do in this situation?
Yeah.
What are you doing in this situation, tweets?
Basically, we get the first 10 minutes of this movie are these people out on the scientific space expedition to check out this star, and they realize, wait a minute, this thing is smaller than Earth, but its mass is ridiculous. And they suddenly are like, we are being pulled into the star's gravity. We are going to die, but it is integral that the crew, all of us, need to stay here and do our jobs and provide as much information back home for the people on Earth as we can so that they can save our beloved planet. And the crew decide...
Before you continue, I want to just say, this, at the minute, sounds like as sick, if not sicker than, like, I would say, Godzilla. So now please continue.
Everyone decides to do their jobs, but not before giving one heroic cheer of hurrah, as the subtitles say. But if you're listening with your ears, can clearly hear banzai.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like that's like, is that like a purely imperial thing? Isn't that just like long lived?
I think the well is poisoned, even if it's not.
I think it may be.
I genuinely just don't know, but like the
this is saying it's just a well, okay, it does say war cry, so I'm not sure, but
I guess I would have to look into it.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. The only thing I've seen here on the English side of the internet, which again we have to take with a grain of salt, is exclusively relating it to like Imperial War charges. But that was a tone setter. But we then cut to a lot of really boring scenes of people talking about, well, there's a star hurtling towards Earth.
Ide's actor is here.
Ide's just around, which is kind of fun. Now
Jun is also around, but he's in
yes.
like most of his movies.
Yeah. Now, the plan, Nathan Fielder voice, is we attach a bunch of rockets to the South Pole and just push Earth somewhere else.
Hell yeah.
The entire, like, they sent an expedition crew to go, I don't know, do something to Gorath, I guess.
I think they literally are like, we should go fly another ship full of people by it to like get more info. But I'd be like, that the first one did not go well. I don't know why you're doing this again.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
It's really stupid. Here's the thing.
I mean, there's a Chinese sci-fi movie that I think is based on a novel that is about this. That is about Earth. The sun is we're drifting out of like we're getting too cold. The Earth is drifting out of the ideal orbit of the sun, is getting too cold, and the sun is dying, and so we're gonna put rockets on the Earth and pilot it to a different solar system.
There's this weird subplot of like, I guess maybe the main character, I don't know. This movie jumps around a lot. There's an astronaut guy who's talking with this one woman who lost her husband in that first space expedition.
Wasn't it her dad?
Wait, was that it?
I think so.
Oh, shit, I thought that was a love interest. Never mind. You know what? You might be right. But there's an unhinged scene of this guy being like, oh, yeah, we're in a relationship, right? And she's like, I'm mourning right now. And then this heroic astronaut man takes the portrait of the man she's mourning and then tosses it out the apartment balcony.
He does this after giving her a gift, a really expensive gift, and is like, yeah, I might not see you ever, so I'm giving you this gift. Yeah. you might be mourning me next. But I will throw out your dad's photo.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he gets amnesia.
He gets amnesia through some weird space. Like, he has to go out of the spaceship or something. I can't remember exactly what happens. I'm gonna be honest, halfway through this movie, I was not giving it my full attention. But he gets amnesia through some contrived reason, and then when they get back on Earth, they're like, oh, well, we thought seeing your love interest would jog your memory. And he's like, I'm gonna be, I don't know. It's not working. But Return of Ultraman logic, as soon as the calamity is done, he does get his memory back. Don't you worry. So, now, Red, what if I told you that when you put a bunch of rockets on the South Pole, it gets really hot? This might unfreeze or annoy. The movie gives us multiple versions of why this might happen. It might unfreeze or annoy a giant fucking walrus that then decides to attack the rockets.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Total Origins.
And you get this scene of these three, like, scientist, like, authority figure men that are flying around in this fucking spaceship shooting lasers at this walrus, and they're like, we don't, like, the walrus didn't do anything wrong. Like, we kind of are being the assholes here by putting the rockets here because we want to save the Earth, but, like, we can't let the walrus destroy the rockets, so, like, is there anything we can do? We don't want to kill this thing. And they kind of, like, you know, hum and haw about it or whatever, shoot some lasers at it. At some point, they dismount and, like, try to check it out on foot, and they're like, okay, bad idea, this walrus is pissed off. And then they just shoot it, and then they look on kind of sad at the walrus's overturned, burnt corpse. And then they move the planet out of the way of the giant fucking star. There's some scenes of, like, gravity getting thrown out of whack because of the star's gravitational pull.
The moon blows up.
Yeah, the moon does explode. Or get sucked in.
Damn.
It needs to be said, the state of the world is not good after the end of this movie scientifically.
No,
Like,
but they're also kind of casual about it.
yeah, like, they think it's all good, but, like, you melted Antarctica, and also the moon is gone. The Earth is not in a good position.
And, like, the movie ends with two dudes having a conversation like, yeah, we should probably get started on, like, putting those rockets on the North Pole so we can move Earth back to where it was. It just kind of ends.
Damn.
They're like, it's like, thanks to the United Nations, humanity was able to cooperate.
Yeah, there's some weird message at the end, like, listen, we just simply put aside our differences so that we could all not die. Why can't we do this more often? ? Silly movie. Very silly movie, Honda.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it. We finally passed the first artificially defined by the Godzilla Wiki era of Godzilla movies.
You cannot ever, I think, recapture the feelings I had watching this fucking movie this week, where I was going into it thinking, oh, Gorath is some fucking weird, like, bootleg kaiju Godzilla thing that, like, I'm sure shows up again in some spin-off but is mostly forgotten. And then it's like, oh, this isn't a kaiju movie at all. Only for the 11th hour, giant fucking walrus shows up.
Hell yeah. Walrus time.
Yeah, that's all I had.
They definitely reused that suit for Totoro.
Oh, 100%. There's a point where it's flopping around and you can just see the guy's leg, like, poking through the suit. It's so fucking funny. Or it's like, that is a man's leg in that walrus's side.
Well, Gorath sounds fucking wild.
Yeah. Mel, did you have anything else this week?
I did. I just remind myself what it was, because I was trying to think of this one. What the fuck's going on here? Yeah. Okay, yeah. There was something I almost finished, but I didn't, so I'll get to that next week.
Okay.
I did finish Tales of Symphonia, though.
How was Tales of Symphonia in the end?
I thought it was really good.
Excellent.
I won't go into crazy Xenosaga depth of this one, because it's already a game I've fed before, but I do want to talk about a bit, like, the on the whole thing. I'm gonna link you guys.
What are we getting linked? What are we getting sent?
The OP. Here's the OP. You can watch. Let's talk. But yeah.
Okay.
Finished my first Tales of game to completion. I've tried others in the past, but this is the first one I've beaten. Really got my hooks in me more than I thought. I really like the cast. Like the protagonist Lloyd, who's like, the typical good-hearted hero who's a bit book dumb. Is he money smart? Who can say? But he's emotionally smart where it matters, which I think makes him a good hero. Key moment that sold me on him is when he gets a training scene with Kratos, and Kratos is like, Kratos, another member of the party, who's like, cool older guy, warrior guy. And Kratos is like, hey, so why do you use two swords anyway? And Lloyd, speaking with all the confidence of a 17-year-old, says, well, if one sword makes you strong, then two swords make you double strong.
Damn.
Just...
So true.
And then Kratos
Talk your
replies,
shit, Kirito.
Kratos says, that means you need to get good twice as hard.
Hell yeah.
The main female lead is Colette, who is the Yuna of this game, because this game does follow the plot of FF10 for a bit until it becomes something else. When it kind of becomes Xenogears ? Voiced by Nana Mizuki.
Hell
She's
yeah.
done good art. she's got a good arc. She's like the really kind-hearted hero when self-sacrificing, has an arc about like how the journey to like save the world also comes at a cost, including bodily changes, question mark. Oh.
It was Nana Mizuki's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Nana Mizuki.
Happy birthday, Nana Mizuki.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Did
you get the iconic scene of the cup's hot, just kidding, it's cold, just kidding, it's hot?
Yeah.
I have heard that scene makes a lot of sense in context.
Yeah. So that scene, I found out after the fact, is a meme, but it's definitely like 00 energy, where like if you watch it in context, it's like emotionally. Yeah. It makes sense in context, and also like emotionally devastating, because like the context is that earlier the day she trips and gets a nasty cut and just shrugs it off, and so Lloyd gives her like gaslights her with a coffee. And it confronts her. It's like, hey, something is wrong with you. Why don't you talk to us? And it's, that's like why Lloyd is good protagonist.
I see.
And then you have like rounding out, you got like Lloyd's best friend, Genius.
I'd love to be named Genius.
Yeah. And his older sister, Rain, who apparently in Japan is called Refill because she's the healer. That's my Discord icon.
This motherfucker's named Refill.
Turns out takes like a quiz. What career are you gonna have? Writes in, what is your name? Refill. So sorry, you're gonna be like a white mage. You're gonna be a healer.
Is Refill the employee that got in trouble at Panera for topping off those charged lemonades and killing those people?
Yeah, so basically the four of them, along with Kratos, he's the guy with the red hair in the OP. Okay. Not like the dark red hair, the purple guy, the one who's like ominous. They go on a journey, and then like, as I alluded to before, the Tower of Plot happens, and then the game changes, where like, there's a ninja girl named Sheena, and she's like, hey, I'm from a different place. And then you go to that place. And that's when you meet the other guys. Like, because you have, like, the other red-haired guy, Zelos, who plays identically to Kratos in terms of his gameplay mechanics. Mm-hmm. He's, like, the other chosen guy. If we're making FF10 comparisons, he's, like, the Waka of the game, because he's just be like, in this place... Because... I'll loop around back to this. Yeah, I already talked about, like, Pressia, and we definitely talked about Regal before, but they're, like, the last guys you get. And the thing is, like, you get, like, the difference between the two settings is that in the first setting, the world is being terrorized by the Desian Empire, which is an empire of half-elf supremacists. And then in the other world...
supremacists?
Yeah, and then in the other half, the other world... So the first setting is called Silverant, and the second one's Tethalia. And in Tethalia, half-elves have no rights. And then you find out that the theme of the game is racism.
I have a question for Tales of Symphonia. How does the half-elf supremacist society plan on sustaining its half-elfness? What's the plan there?
Yeah, so I think the game does some things well, and I think it missteps in some ways. So, to begin, the first setting, the Desians have human ranches, which are basically human concentration camps.
Thank you for answering my question. Half-elf supremacists. I don't appreciate the answer, but thank you for having one.
And a lot of that part of the game in that world is like, oh, you just go into the concentration camps and blow them up and liberate people inside, and it's pretty sick.
That does sound cool.
Yeah. FF7 beginning energy.
Yeah, and it's like, that's basically like the law of that part of the game. But also there's like confronting the fact that there's like a case system in Tethalia, and like Zelos, the chosen one, is very upfront about the fact that like, hey, I don't feel good about half-elves, and he isn't like as in your face about it as Waka is, and he's all pretty chill, but he is like, listen, I know you guys are cool, but like, you do have to understand I was raised in a society that's racist towards you. And also he does hate people, which is also funny. He's also a womanizer. He has a special skill where if you talk to women NPCs in the game, they give you free stuff, which is funny.
Damn.
And yeah, so things basically go from there where they're like, well, this system sucks. We got to do a thing where we like save the two worlds from the shit that's fucking them up. Because the previous way was like a 0 something. And then meanwhile, the villain, whose name is Yggdrasil, he's
can
like
anyone tell me?
like,
Can anyone point me to a JRPG that contains? Completely continue.
But yeah, it is kind of silly the way they try and kind of make him sympathetic because he's like a half elf and like his goal is the one anime plot as the cure to racism and war.
I see.
Reduce no individualism kind of thing. And then all the heroes point out to him is like, dude, what about the war and racism you guys have been doing? What are you talking about? So I think that's where it fumbles, because I think by trying to make him sympathetic and like it leads into sort of a racism is half goes both ways thing, which isn't pretty liberal, but also like I think to the game's credit, there's also the fact that like the protagonists themselves, on top of, liberating concentration camps, they themselves are like, oh yeah, racism is not an individualized thing. It's like a societal, like institutional power structure that needs to be dismantled through common understanding and community. And so that's where I think it's a bit better with this stuff. It's kind of like, it is a liberal game, obviously, so that's where the mixed bag. But I think it in some ways it's better than most, and other times it falls into like the pitfalls you'd expect.
Thank you, Tales of Symphonia, for ending racism.
True.
Yeah. Apparently, this isn't even the only Tales of game about racism, which is also really funny to me.
Is the new one the one about slavery? Is that one about racism?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but
there are other ones beside that.
Yeah, I know that one's about slavery.
Tales of
but
Rise
is it also about
racism derogatory?
I see. Cool.
Tales has been this thing in my periphery forever, and part of this is because like my immediate group of friends, like a bunch of people that are like, I think they'd call themselves Tales fans, but there are a lot of people that are like very critical of the series as well. Would be like, it's kind of like a lot of them treat it almost as a guilty pleasure, or like I've been playing them since I've been a kid and I can't really stop because I'm too invested now, sort of thing. And like the way I've always heard Tales described is it's like there are ones that are really good, and then there's ones where it's like, oh, you're like you're halfway there, but like it sounds like it often narratively stumbles in this sort of way, which has been very funny for me to like kind of pick up on through osmosis through the years.
Yeah, and like I'll say overall, I feel like there's, I want to say tentatively a new favorite of mine, but also I have other games in the series I'm gonna play, and I'm very hyperfixation moded right now. But I do think it's like a case of this greater than some of its parts, because I feel like if you like wrote the plot down on paper, you'd say, "Well, what is this? It's nothing special." But I think like Brad mentioned a few weeks back, like things like the skits and the character interactions and just the character writing really elevate the game. Like there's really good stuff. I won't spoil too much about it, but there's like really good stuff about like where the plot goes with Lloyd and Kratos. And just, yeah, I have critiques about like the villain and how it ties into the themes, but overall I think it was a really enjoyable time.
Nice.
And like, it really pulled me in a way things did. I really like the battle system of the series. It's like, interesting. It's like a fighting game, and it's really unique from that regard. The way it like, it's the first, so there's the 5th Tales of game, released in Japan. Significantly less of those games are released over here. And this is the first one in 3D, which makes it interesting. Previously the other ones were 2D, and they worked like fighting in rules. You go like, you're on a 2D plane, you walk forward and backwards. this one you have like enemies in arena, but you're like locked on to like to an enemy, and you can't do 3D movement in an arena and without like switching targets, which is interesting.
Okay.
You don't unlock Susanoo free run until a later entry.
I am so curious how I feel about the combat in these games when I get deeper in, because I remember you said like you have friends that are very like deep in the like advanced tech for like this generation of it, and then like the later ones they felt like kind of were a step back, right?
Yeah, like so paraphrasing some of my friends, like they really like this middle section. I'll send a image I sent Brad like in August, because like there was a period where I was like, oh yeah, I want to do, because you can do co-op in these games. I was trying to get friends to like do co-op with me, but obviously trying to do that is very difficult, so it didn't go through, which is why I ended up just going, okay, I just gotta play these myself. But there's like a diagram I made, vetted by my friend, which is sort of like, oh yeah, this is how like the production history of the franchise goes, where there's like the original team that made Tales of Phantasia were like making an action RPG, but due to creative differences left and made Tri-Ace, and then they went on to do Star Ocean. And then a new team finished off Phantasia and then made Tales of Destiny, then Tales of Eternia, and then a new team was made. I think there's like some cross-pollination, but a new team made Tales of Symphonia, and then like the 3D games after that. Oh, meanwhile, there was a 2D team going like Tales of Destiny, Tales of Rebirth, remake of Destiny, and then they did Tales of Graces. And at some point after Vesperia and Graces, the teams got amalgamated into Tales of Zillia, and that's sort of like the modern Tales era, and that's sort of where the kind of downhill sort of goes. I think people still say like the Zillia games are good and have like the good things the Tales have, but you also see the sort of trends where they started like dumbing things down and going less for like the unique Tales battle system and more to like a more conventional and bland action RPG system, which is ultimately what Arise has.
The thing I've always been told was that, at least for my old head friends, was like Vesperia was the one they all kind of agree was like the last big tentpole, like this is great one. And then Graces was like good gameplay, maybe questionable story, and then Zillia on is just like, wow, they just keep putting out 7 out of 10s.
Yeah, like I think people...
the thing is, they put out a 7 out of 10 with a girl who's Shadow the Hedgehog, so I have to play that one day.
Yeah, but yeah, like Graces comes out of like the 2D game lineage, so it doesn't come out of the Vesperia lineage, but like, yeah, so like, yeah, so that's the. I don't know how much to add to that, but yeah, it's basically like I'd like to do co-op, and there were some super bosses I'd like to do. Which I was not leveled enough to do them, and I just hit a wall. And I was like, well, I'll get back to them later.
I'm curious how I feel. So at some point in my life, I will get back to Tales of the Abyss, which I've liked what I've played of quite a lot, actually. Like the main couple in that game, they introduce it to you like pretty quick, and I'm just like, they're great, both of them. I love them both off the bat. I need to get back to it, but I haven't gotten like deep enough in to really like have any opinions about the combat. But because I remember after you had brought up like the stuff about like the gameplay of the series and all that, I was like, oh, I've never really, I feel like I haven't really gotten my friend group's like thoughts on it, and most of them were kind of like, yeah, we just like no real deep feelings there. We kind of just put up with the gameplay and are mostly there for the story. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, my thing is, because I have a friend who like is really into the combat, and like I've read his like forum posts about like what he likes with the combat, and he's talked about it. I was like, even though it was a series I always like, I tried to get into before, I was into before, it was like really me going into it now in the recent period with like for combat reasons. And so I was like really getting into the combat for Symphonia, and also like looking forward to how future games iterate on it. And like, yeah, I think it helps to have the mentality of like, this is trying to be a fighting game, like as the inspiration, because it informs a lot of the decisions of how the controls work. Because like, if you are just trying to approach this like, why can't I like the movement feels weird compared to a normal action RPG if you approach it like a normal action RPG, but if you approach it as like, I move towards and away from the enemy the way I moved towards someone in Street Fighter, then it makes a lot more sense. And so I think this helps to have that mentality.
This is clicking some pieces together in my head between various thoughts and things I've heard. This makes sense to me. Okay.
Yeah. And so if you ever like revisit it, one, I'll do co-op if you want to. And two, just have that in mind.
Is there any feasible way for us to do it? It'd just be RPC SX2, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, well, for Abyss, it's like, yeah, that's the way to do it because there isn't any ports the way that Symphonia and Vesperia have.
I mean, honestly, I think, can we do the full thing co-op?
We could.
I'd kind of be down, honestly.
Yeah. This changes some plans of mine. So now, like my plan was here's my past history of Tales. Like years back, I was pitched Tales of the Abyss, and I ended up spoiling myself on it. So I know what was happening in the game.
Okay.
But I got on the 3DS and tried to beat it, and got like a couple hours in, and tried a few years later and got a few more hours in. And then I got Vesperia on the Switch before COVID, and I got a few hours in that, and then I fell off that too. And so I was like, okay, my friend recommends starting with Symphonia because like the good middle point between 2D entries and 3D entries. That's like the first one. Because, it's the first 3D game, so yeah, it's like 3D sensibilities, but it doesn't have free run, so you don't using it as a crutch, and so like...
Ain't that the elf girl who's real popular right now?
Yeah. I made that joke earlier in this podcast.
Oh shit, did you?
Yes.
No!
Yes. Listen back to it.
No!
Yeah, so the next game after... So there's two teams, Team Destiny, which is like the 2D games, and then Team Symphonia, which is the 3D games. And so I'm like, the plan is to do Tales of Symphonia, then the next game Team Symphonia did, which is Tales of the Abyss, and then followed by Tales of Vesperia, because those are ones like in like there's like a lineage there by the same team iterating on their designs. And then after that, I'm going to figure out what I do based on like what's seems cool and what is available in English, because some things are not released in English yet, and they have fan translations in progress.
My Tales history is I 7 hours into the 3DS version of Abyss and then dropped it, but I for some fucking reason beat Tales of the Tempest, which is the really horrible...
Yes, so I have a funny story about that. Apparently, the game was so reviled. So Tales has they kind of changed this, but for a while, Tales had a system where they labeled some games Mothership titles and others escort titles.
And they revoked the Mothership status of that one, right?
The Mothership is the main line and the other one's a spin-off. And they downgraded Tempest to a spin-off because it was so bad. Which is really funny.
Yeah. Also should be noted that the fan translation for that game came out on April Fool's Day, and the translator was like, if any of y'all want to play this piece of shit, it's like 10 to 15 hours. It's real bad, but here it is if anyone fucking wants it. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? It's not great.
I've heard the other DS entries, Innocence and Hearts, are better, but also their Vita versions are superior to their DS versions.
Yes, and I also... So, like, Hearts got an official translation on the Vita, but also apparently it's, like, kind of dubious quality, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some people who have differences, because, like, the Hearts DS is, like, a 2D game, and then Hearts Vita changes the gameplay to be more 3D, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what I was going to say is that next up for me is Abyss, except... I started it last night, but also maybe my plans have changing if Brad wants to do co-op.
I mean, I'd be down, honestly. I've been the thing's been on my burning my backlog JRPG library forever now, and I think it would be fun. It would be fun to experience one of these games for the first time via the co-op mode, because I don't feel like that's the thing a lot of people can say they've done for like these bigger like Tales RPG stuff or whatever. Even though that like it's obviously unintended mode of play, and also realistically, how many other times in my life am I going to get someone playing Tales of the Abyss for the first time that was also open to doing co-op? So
that was like my plan with you, but also like us trying to do every game was gonna hurt. But yeah, if we can do Abyss, at least we can figure it out. Also, it helps that I just started it. We can figure out the details, but I can send you like the VOD so you can know where I am and we can see about.
Yeah,
because it sounds like you got to the part where I am already, so
yeah.
Fun. I still haven't passed where the furthest I've got, but it's fun. We'll talk about Abyss later.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But yeah, all that aside, Tales, pretty cool from this one game.
Yeah.
I understand why people want Lloyd Irving in Smash.
Nice.
He's a good protagonist. These are good characters. It's good when an RPG party is good. Nothing better than that.
True.
Join us for a year from now when Mel plays Super Mario RPG Remake and becomes a Geno person.
Listen.
Mm-hmm.
Namco at least still cares about Lloyd.
Also, for anyone who's actually played that game, Mallow clears.
Actually, he's a cloud, so he's not transparent.
These fucking words mean.
That's true.
Super Mario RPG, fake game. Play a real RPG.
Yeah, like Paper Mario.
Yeah. All right.
Play a real Shin Megumi Tensei game.
Yeah, play a real video game. Like I can't think of a bad example off the top of my head.
Speaking of clear.
Speaking of clear. Oh, the invisible giant monster from outer space. Return of Ultraman, episode 19, is called. We're just going straight fucking in. No, just the worst segue. Let's go. The invisible giant monster from outer space. So now, I really enjoyed writing. Like when I came back and I wrote this summary, and I was having a great time imagining that meme that's the guy typing really hard and then it cuts to the other guy singing, just having a great time.
Yeah.
That was how I was imagining your and my summaries. I was because this is yeah. The invisible giant monster from outer space. Jiro gets murked. He calls Matt to investigate a meteorite that fell near the school and goes like, it's just a meteorite, and lets Jiro keep it. But it grows to massive size and releases an invisible kaiju that fucks up Jiro, the school, and the class pet, Pionta the rabbit. Jiro is sent to the hospital.
Can I say...
And Pionta is sent to the grave. Rip Pionta. Yes, Brad.
Oh. So, this is maybe the most underselling of an episode summary I've ever gotten out of one of these books, just casually looking through them. The first sentence of this episode blurb. Jiro, who was looking after the school's rabbit with his friends during the summer vacation, discovered a meteorite.
No, you have to include that Jiro gets murked.
Discovered a meteorite is really, really downplaying what happens here.
He discovers a meteorite and then shit goes bad.
Yeah.
In the hospital, like fucking Uncle Ben going, kill them all, Peter. Jiro asks Go to avenge Pionta. Go promises that he believes Jiro about the whole invisible kaiju thing, and he will take it down. First obstacle, Kishida does not buy the invisible kaiju thing. In fact, he still has not apologized to Jiro for not believing him about the last invisible kaiju that Jiro was right about. The team discussed the situation. The meteorite expanded. What if the kaiju contained within was initially kept compact due to massive gravity, such as that of stars that can bend light? And perhaps this kaiju too is bending light for camouflage purposes. The team investigates a train crash, and Go is like, could have been an invisible kaiju, and Kishida doesn't buy it, forgetting what happened the last time he doubted that a train crash could have been caused by an invisible kaiju. Suddenly, the kaiju is just there, starts wrecking shit, and the team fights back using an infrared camera to identify it. It's got an elephant trunk and like really cursed wispy hair on its spine. The team does damage, but the kaiju starts phasing through bullets and missiles and buildings and disappears. Matt lost, and Jiro watched it happen from the balcony of the hospital. He falls into a more critical condition due to despair. Kishida theorizes the kaiju is doing something to do with neutrons. I don't.
This is the part where I say, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, I don't know if he's talking about like quantum shit. Maybe I don't remember.
My friend Pre, who's a big Ultraman fan, but also a physics teacher, said, "Oh yeah, they definitely like confuse neutrons with neutrinos."
Okay.
Which is funny.
That's funny. Anyway, Go visits Jiro and is like, I couldn't kill the kaiju. It literally phases through damage. Sorry, I broke my promise. There may be no way to beat this one, so I can't promise anything after all. And Ken sends the clip to Scrub Quotes and calls Dan a fucking loser. This is actually important stuff. He's talking to Go about how you have no hope of winning if you give up. And he uses a racing metaphor about how a moment of uncertainty will have you careening off the track. And to me, it's pretty clear he's talking about an accident he was in.
If only someone could fix that for him.
If only someone could just fix him. Go hears this and resolves to defeat the kaiju no matter what. The operation gets underway, and Matt have a net that should negate the whole phasing thing. They hit the kaiju with the net, and Go turns into Ultraman and saves the day. He struggles a bit at first because a trunk is kind of just a tail for your face, but luckily he's Ultraman, so he can cheat, and he uses telekinesis to explode the kaiju. Jiro dreams of flying through bubbles with Ultraman and wakes up. Suddenly,
don't we all?
All the time. Suddenly in a stable condition. Go enters looking beat the fuck up and tells Jiro he's done it. He's avenged Pionta. Everyone's happy. The end.
Translation, I beat the monster. You don't need to be in the hospital anymore. We've established this.
Yeah.
Wait,
did happen.
So, shall we save the ongoing weird, truly unhinged thing that this show has against doctors? The idea of physical health.
I felt weirdly targeted this season, let me just say.
Shall we leave it to the end of all three? Because we're not done with this subject yet.
Yeah, I think we should, because it keeps coming up.
I flip-flop a bit on how I feel about the scene in the middle there with Jiro and Ken.
Yeah, so
because on one hand,
it's
really goofy in a way to just like have Matt lose, and then Jiro's like, Matt, Go, you're a loser and a liar because you're a scrub and you suck. And then Go is just like, look, what do you want me to do? It's from space. It can turn invisible and shit. And
I do think it's extremely funny how he. So with the context that you gave us of, kids were asking for more space-based kaiju, I absolutely love it that when Go's talking about how he got his ass kicked, he's like, it's from fucking space, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Drawing further attention to it.
And then Ken agreeing with Jiro also feels pretty goofy, but also there is the point to be made that he's like, well, listen, you're the monster attack team. You're supposed to attack monsters. You can't just quit because you lost.
Yeah.
There's a weird thing here where it's like you can absolutely be on the monster attack team and attack the monster and try your best without saying I'm definitely going to beat the monster. There's like this sort of like there is like a certain dismissal of any notion of having a realistic assessment of the situation.
Yeah, to a degree, we would not want a team of like someone like government body going in to deal with, say, like a hurricane or an earthquake or natural disaster to downplay and be like, hey, things are going to be safe here when they truly aren't, like that sort of thing. But I do, at the same time, I felt like Ken's been a little bit underutilized so far, especially as like that friend figure for Go. So I did like him getting his moment here to be like, you are doubting yourself way too hard. But yeah, it is not clean cut.
I like it.
In terms of the quality.
I like it as a position for Ken to take.
Yes.
I think once he like introduces this idea of like the reason for his injury is like he accredits it to a moment of uncertainty, and I think that that's I think that's some good stuff for Ken. Like,
yeah, I also think it helps that like it's Jiro's brother, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What now? How are we feeling about this kaiju?
I like this one, actually.
I think it's ugly, but I like the fact it exists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I like it myself, but also like I'm like, well, it's good to have designs like this.
I'm a sucker for trunks. Like, give me like a big dumb elephant or like
more
a
of a
tapir
person, but
listen, did you see him slash up Mecha Frieza? It was so cool.
You know what? No, because I've never seen Dragon Ball in my life.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What am I doing here? No, but
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good when he does that.
So here's the thing also too. I was thinking about this because I was like, damn, I actually really liked this kaiju design. And honestly, I kind of feel that way about all three of these. But I also did in the back of my mind, I'm like, am I giving this bonus points because of what we've seen in the rest of this show so far? That thought did not escape my brain.
It's possible, but I do just think we've had like, you know, a real markup in just like cool guys, just like cool monsters. Ever since the new guy came in, I think he's doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the third episode this week.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was a standout for me as well. This was directed by Noboru Kaji and then written by Shozo Uehara.
Okay, makes sense. Don't worry.
That does make sense.
One thing I'll comment about the end of the episode, I feel like this show has done this a lot, but it is kind of awkward when like they start playing a track to end the mood, but then the episode ends, so they cut off the track early and just like really inelegantly transition to the end of the episode as jingle.
That's funny.
I do also want to point this out. I was supposed to write this down, then I forgot to, but we're gonna play a little game here. So we've covered 21 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
How many? Give me a number. How many have been written by Shozo Uehara?
17.
15.
Red said 17. Mel, what did you say?
15.
14.
Ooh.
Oh, damn. I won.
14 out of 21 episodes have been written by Shozo Uehara.
That's as many episodes. That's proportionally as many episodes as Gabalgas and Blazer.
Cool. This is kind of his show.
Yeah.
Sick. What else is there in this episode? So they fucking manhandle that rabbit. I don't know if you're supposed to pick up rabbits by the ears like that.
That bothered me too. I was like, I don't think that's right.
I was not expecting Pionta to fucking die. Rip Pionta.
Rip.
Yeah, I think the doctor. Okay, now, we will save it because we can talk about it all in one. But there's some specifics here to the health stuff that's slightly different from its usual modus operandi. So we'll see. Do we have anything more about this episode?
I don't really think so.
No, it's kind of standard. There's like that one.
Yeah.
There's like that one Kenjiro scene, not Kenjiro, Ken-Go scene that is like where the meat is.
I thought this was just like perfectly serviceable and good kaiju design.
Oh yeah, so Kishida. This is hating for no reason. This is like unjustifiable hater energy. He's like, you really think this train crash could have been caused by an invisible kaiju? That happened a couple of weeks ago, mate. Do you really think Jiro is telling the truth about an invisible kaiju? Yeah, do you remember last time when Jiro told the truth about an invisible kaiju? It's like, I don't know, man. Can't trust kids.
Kishida hanging out with Jiro alone in the room. Is the invisible kaiju in the room with us right now, Jiro?
Jiro's like, yes, it is. It's there. It broke that wall, and Kishida's like, it could have been, structural fault.
There's air pressure, kid. Deal with it.
Air pressure. All right. Well, if we don't have anything else to say about episode 19, we can move on to episode 20, which also has a terrible title.
The monster is a shooting star in space.
Yeah.
I could really use a wish right now.
Planes are crashing at Kumazawa Dam, and the Earth's magnetism is going apocalyptic. Why? Because a kaiju called Magnodon erupted from a mountain in Kumazawa and is draining the magnetism from the Earth. Matt are deployed, and Go has an idea. Let's just bomb it with normal bombs. It's
funny how he specifically says regular bomb.
Yeah, he says, let's use regular bombs. And I'm like, is that a technical term? No, he means regular bombs. It's got magma skin, so like it's hard, but brittle as fuck. And Kishida chimes in.
Yeah, specifically he says, if it's hard, that means it's brittle.
Yeah.
By definition.
Kishida chimes in like, we won't even need to aim because Magnodon's magnetic. So they bomb.
Please aim your bombs.
So they bomb Magnodon, blow it to pieces, and then celebrate a job well done. It starts raining, and Principal Hater Kishida is like, hey, check it out, kaiju tears.
Yeah, it's so funny. For a minute, I thought it was going to be a Skydon episode, and it kind of is, but not in a funny way.
Yeah.
Also, before we get too far away from it, I just want to say I feel like we have absolutely established a Ultra series writer shorthand of I don't know how to start this one. Public transit plane ship blows up.
Yes. Very, very simple, very straightforward.
Effective, honestly, admittedly.
Comes up next episode too.
So, Magnodon isn't dead. Shocker. That's a different show. And uses its magnetism.
Aaron, right now.
Yeah, and uses its magnetism to put itself back together, like the Iron Giant. It starts causing problems again, and Matt have to come up with a new idea. This time, they'll melt Magnodon with lasers. Go takes responsibility for suggesting the bomb plan and shoots Magnodon with a laser rifle, but gets swatted by the tail. Ultraman's one weakness. Go winds up in the hospital. We know how this goes.
Don't worry, not for long.
Jun 3 demands results from Matt, or else they will be disbanded. The captain visits Go, and he doesn't mention the whole disbanding thing, but Go manages to read between the lines and figures it out. I personally would not have registered a single word after the question, are your bones all right? Like, what? My bones? Anyway. Whatever Matt's final plan is, Go wants in. He simply discharges himself, and Jiro tells a distraught Aki to relax. It's fine. After all, at times like this, women and children just get in the way. Jiro.
It's a man's honor.
It's a
He
man's
said
honor.
something specifically too that's like a man's spirit too. I think was what I saw.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Jiro, what the fuck? Who's been telling you this shit? It's Go. It's Go. Go has been telling him this shit.
Ultraman's been saying this too.
Yeah, Ultraman's saying, now you don't see any Ultra women, do you?
Damn.
Matt are going to run electricity from the dam through the kaiju, hoping to either kill it or negate its magnetism. The plan goes great until the cables finally melt and Magnodon puts a hole in the dam. Go arrives on the scene and turns into Ultraman. He has some issues getting caught in the horns on Magnodon's back, but luckily he's Ultraman, so he can cheat. He fixes the hole in the dam and then renders Magnodon inert with telekinesis before flying it away into space, away from the Earth's magnetic field, so he can finally destroy it. It explodes into little pieces and won't be able to stick itself back together. On Earth, Go returns to Aki and Jiro and is like, sorry for the wait, I had to stop by the office on the way home. And then they watch...
No, he did not stop by the office.
No. And then they watch the pieces of Magnodon fall to Earth as like shooting stars. The end.
And the narrator's like, only Go knows the truth, that these are actually corpse parts of a kaiju you just
Perfect
killed.
cry.
Meanwhile, at the Matt base, everyone's like, where the fuck is Go?
Also, it should be noted, like, that fight scene shot in like a way that reminded me of that last Jisoji episode from Ultra 7, I believe,
fight
right?
in space fucking rules.
It's so cool. Love the setting where it's like aluminum fucking rocks.
Okay, my brain's breaking. Was that was it Ultraman or Ultra 7 where we got the weird surreal bird fight, like Birdman who was a piece of shit to that one guy.
That's 7. That's like
That's 7. That's the last Jisoji episode, right?
Yeah, it's
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yes, yes.
The one where there's too much stars, and they just go, man, there's too many stars.
This one doesn't go as far into the like weird and trippy stuff as that, but like it's cool. They did a great job with this fight scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would say across the board, I think the standard of how these episodes
choreography,
how these episodes are shot is just a step up from previous. Like, you know, Ultra 7 goes hard, but I think this show's like baseline is like surprising. I think it's it hasn't come up much because it's become like normal. But these episodes just look good a lot of the time.
It feels like the industry has moved on and standards have changed between the decades.
Yes,
in a way too.
Yes,
like you can feel like
Jisoji was
productions are becoming more professional.
Jisoji was avant-garde in the days of Ultraman, and now it's kind of like people are trying to emulate that style a lot more frequently. Yeah, it's cool. The whole structure of this plot, where it's like a bunch of different plans. Mal, you mentioned it's kind of like a more serious Skydon.
Yeah. I only made the connection now. It's basically because like I thought it was gonna be a Skydon episode just because of the way they were partying.
Yeah.
And then I thought it didn't go there, but then I think about it, it's kind of like that when I kind of now to it.
Yeah, I think now that you mention it, it does read like a Skydon episode. Absolutely. I think by not being as funny as Skydon, we're not on that level. We're not on the level of trying to transform with a spoon. I'm sorry. It's legendary.
I do like how the realization, like I can't win because the Earth has magnetic poles. And then he goes, wait a minute, what if it's not on Earth? And then he just fucking leaves with it.
What if I simply fly into space? Like, Ueno in a meeting is like, well, if we could get it off Earth, that would be great. And Kishida's like, how the fuck would we get it off Earth? And Ueno's like, it's just an idea. You don't have to be a hater about all the time. Like,
I can't remember what episode it is. It's either this one or the next one where someone's like they send out Minami alone to go fly and do something. And I'm just like, when's the last time that's happened?
that is next episode. Where Minami gets sent on a completely pointless mission.
It's just like, this feels like the actor like reached out to someone, was like, can I fly the can my guy get like a scene? But yeah, that's next episode. I guess production. Actually, well, do we want to? Because we have a guy, kind of.
Oh.
Not really. I can't say that. That means something now. Something now.
We're not quite on that level.
No. They're very, very basic, but I guess I can get into it.
What is there to say about this episode outside of
hospital stuff?
Outside of hospital stuff.
I do like. Well, okay. This show likes to do the thing. I like that Go is flawed and like feels the need to take responsibility when he fucks up. But also too, this is not the first time I feel like we've complained about this. He suggests a very regular plan, which is let's attack the monster with regular ordnance, and it doesn't work. And he's like, God, I fucked up so hard. And it's like, I mean, honestly, I feel like most people in your position would actually do that same thing, and I feel like you're maybe being a little too hard on yourself.
I think I like this. I think I like this bit about Go, where it's like everyone else is like also enthusiastic about the regular bomb plan, and then it goes forward and goes like, oh, I fucked up so bad, and everyone else is like, what?
You like that Go's a cry typer?
Yes.
Yeah, he does thing between like overconfidence as opposed to regular confidence. And trying to overcompensate for like
His
any
fuck-ups,
perceived failing.
Any perceived
See,
failing.
you know, this is interesting to me because in my brain, I've been turning this over as the people making this show want to go flawed, but not too flawed that he can't still be viewed as the hero, but actually viewing this through the lens of, oh, this is like actually an interesting character flaw of he is way too hard on himself. And like, yeah, I could see that now, actually. That is interesting. I do like that.
It's it's a fun one for a superhero.
Yeah.
So, production.
So, Masanori Kake, who we've talked about before, did the directorial stuff. Writer is a new person, Toshiro Ishido, who began his career co-writing movies with Nagisa Oshima, who we've discussed before, as being part of that, like, new left Japanese cinema scene. And the two movies he wrote along with him include Graveyard of the Sun, which was, I believe, a pretty influential part of his filmography, and then also one we've talked about before, which is Night and Fog in Japan. You may remember this because it's the controversial movie he made that made him leave his original studio, because right when it came out, it got pulled by theaters because a Socialist Party political figure was assassinated by a far-right extremist.
Yes.
So he was the one who wrote that movie. Shouldn't be surprising since he's in the mix with Oshima. He's also good friends with Akio Jisoji. He wrote 1 or 2 episodes for Jisoji's show Silver Mask, which we've talked about a few times. And then also wrote the script for the first movie in his erotic Buddhist film trilogy, This Transient Life, also known as Mujo. I will watch those someday. They have been... Okay, I have a coffee table in my apartment. That box has just been on my coffee table for like a month. And then when people come over, I need to put it away to make sure they don't see it. But I keep putting it back out, and when I'm like, one day I'll put this in my PS5.
Don't mind that. Those are my my art films.
I have a podcast. It's normal. After he was done working in film, so this was worded weird, and I didn't put it in because I didn't want to like. But, like, it said, the one summary thing that I read was, like, he parted ways with Oshima, and, like, it sounded normal. Like, they just stopped working together, but, like, it also left enough room in the wording to be, like, was there a falling out? I couldn't tell. But I think they just went separate ways because they were done working together. I'm going to assume the normal route here. Because I feel like if there was, like, a big disagreement, it would otherwise have said that. But they went separate ways, and he decided that he was going to take some time and write just a bunch of TV episodes here and there, and as part of that spree of TV writing, he worked on Return of Ultraman. So that's how he got here. Later on in life, he kind of slowed down, started to write less and less for TV, and then he got more involved with academia and film schools and, like, film writers organizations, which is something we've seen with, like, a lot of the people we've covered, is that, you know, later on in life, they want to give back to the younger generation, and they're helping out for, like, scenario writers and screenwriters guilds and associations and stuff like that on a professional level, which is cool. Last note, he got sick later on in life. In 2008, he released a memoir, which is titled, and I quote, "A Bigoted Old Man's Life on the Silver Screen." In it, he wrote, quote unquote, "My writing career has ended with this book. All that remains is to meet Akio Jisoji and Shohei Imamura in the underworld." And then 3 years later, he died.
God damn.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. And that's all I have on Ishido.
Hell yeah, dude.
I will say, if you're gonna write a memoir, a bigoted old man's life on the silver screen is a fucking name.
A bigoted
Well, I can
old
see
man's
his opinions
life.
on women.
Wow. Damn. All right. That's a guy.
Yeah.
It's a strong way to wrap it up. Do we have...
Speaking of screens... Oh,
so,
no.
Speaking of screen... I mean, this episode is another kind of... It's kind of standard. If it's, you know, there's not much, like, narrative to go into. The coolest thing in it is... I mean, the kaiju is cool. I like the sort of backward spines. But
I like the shot where I think it uses its tail or it rams it with it either somehow it gets Ultraman on his back and then shocks him real good. And I thought that was fun.
Yeah. But like the highlight is like the weird fight in space.
Yes.
Which is just fantastic.
And I like the idea too. It's
I have a note. Go ahead. You go ahead before I mention this.
I was just we've already talked about it, so I won't stay to it. But like, I like the idea that like as when they're fighting on the ground, all that fighting is pretty normally shot. But then it's like, to highlight that we're somewhere alien and weird, we're going to suddenly go all out on the, staging and choreography and how everything is shot. I thought that was like a nice contrast, even that Jisochi episode didn't necessarily do. That was just, what if I go ridiculously hard on a fairly normal narrative wise like fight scene, and this was, we're somewhere different now, let's do something different to like really showcase how out there we are. And I thought that was fun.
So in the background of the map base, I finally noticed the map of the world that is under the map logo. And the map of the world is, and I'm not necessarily claiming that the center of the Earth on most atlases is warranted, as is. It would be hypocritical of me. But I think it's funny that this map of the world has Japan at the center.
Yeah,
it is for a domestic audience.
It is for a domestic audience.
We need to bring back the maps where the east is north for whatever reason.
Oh, like the Mappa Mundi.
I think that was because that like north, or like I think the reasoning for that was like Jerusalem was at the top and then went down from there. I can't remember anymore.
There's some famous medieval maps where Jerusalem is at the center of the world, and then you have Europe, Africa, and Asia are like a triangle coming off it.
That makes sense.
The one I'm thinking
maps are interesting. The one I'm
thinking of is the Mappa Mundi, which is wild, which I got shown when I was doing like Crusades history in A level.
Ain't that the Star Wars guy?
Mappa Mundi. Yeah,
the big brain one.
Yep, that's him.
Yeah, history of cartography, interesting. Go look it up sometime. Like fun.
Here's
browse through history and how people view things.
A medieval map of the known world.
Oh, let's go.
I assume that black, just weird splodge in the middle is the Mediterranean.
So, this is maybe unhinged, but my first thought is that I want to cut out the circle part and make like a really ridiculous novelty pizza pan out of it.
All right.
But, yeah, interesting.
This is only one step removed from American explaining things. Imagine a burger.
God damn it. So true.
All right. That is episode 20. Let us move on to episode 21, The Monster Channel.
I can't believe Subaraya Productions invented Candle Cove.
They don't.
The creepypasta.
Somewhere.
Unfortunately, I thought about Persona 4 watching this.
Our brains are broken in different ways.
Somewhere in Japan at 4 a.m., a girl wakes up to turn off the TV her dad left on. And instead of static, the TV shows a passenger jet. Minami and Go see the same thing on their TVs. Specifically, like, Minami calls him late at night. So Go, turn on your telly. The camera seems to approach the plane, and then the plane explodes. At about the same time, a passenger jet in real life fell out of contact and exploded. Reports of the footage appearing on TV are coming in from all over the world. It's up to Matt to investigate, but they have to be careful. It's possible that their efforts could be broadcast to an international civilian audience. Ueno and Go head out in a Matt Hawk to the airspace where the incident occurred, and they meet a strange, spiny, flying kaiju with little vampire teeth and 3 glowing eyes that shoot a laser. The perfect kaiju, thank you. It's also a weird seal.
Yeah.
Ueno and Go can't radio base anymore, and they engage the kaiju. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, in Edogawa, a boy is trying to contact his friend George via radio, but he can't get a signal.
He has a radio licenser at 11.
Yeah, he got a radio license at 11. His mother's romantic drama on TV is interrupted by footage of the Matt Hawk fighting the kaiju. The Matt Hawk is hit, and Ueno and Go retreat, and the romantic drama resumes. And she loves it. She's like dreaming wistfully of another life. The Matt named this kaiju Beacon. They conclude it must eat electrical signals, and its body must function almost like a TV broadcast station. I would love a stupid fake science explanation for this, but we get none. Tokyo will be a proper feast if Beacon ever heads there. So Go comes up with a drastic plan. Turn off everything in Tokyo and then broadcast a signal out at sea so that they can engage the kaiju where no one will get hurt. They put this plan into action, and it does not fucking work. Why? Because of the kid on his amateur radio going, "Come in, George-kun." Absent of any other nearby signal, Beacon heads straight for Edogawa, and Go has to rescue this kid before he's crushed to death.
This kid has the heart of a podcaster.
Kid, come on, Ultra Q. Go gets caught in the collapsed building and transforms into Ultraman. He has a sunset battle with Beacon and seems to lose when Beacon manages to sink its teeth into Ultraman like a vampire and drain a bunch of energy. But Ultraman has a trick up his sleeve. A little attack from the bracelet he got from Ultra 7, and that drops Beacon, and his job is done. Elsewhere in Japan, the girl from earlier wakes up early once again, hoping to see something cool on the TV, and the narrator's like, "Nah, bro, kaiju got killed. Go to bed." The end. This episode's cool.
This episode's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I like this. This is probably my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah, definitely my favorite one.
Yeah, it's some of the most just like bullshit, but it's weird and cool and strange. I like it.
Directed by Masanori Kake and then written by Shinichi Ichikawa, who I think is in his good mode because, again, very...
Ichikawa's the guy that's, flip a coin.
Hot and cold.
Just throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, this episode's a good time. I've already mentioned, love this kaiju. Fantastic kaiju. Ridiculous guy. The whole like TV like there are Ultra Q vibes to this, which is good. Always like it when the Ultra Q vibes return.
Yeah.
I don't
have, like, I think the kaiju design's really cool. I like how it flies and floats around.
We mentioned
just
Minami.
A good design.
Minami gets sent off on like that weird that one mission, and he's just like sat in the plane, just like, I get to go out. I get to sortie, and then Go has to call him like, Minami, you got to come back. The plan didn't fucking work. The plan didn't work at all.
I think it's funny. The episode starts about one child, and then it becomes about an entirely different child.
Yes. Maybe that one kid didn't work out. Maybe she was a bad actor.
Yeah, she just comes back at the end as if to close the bookend, but it's also like, why?
Yeah, it's what, like, we don't revisit the Edogawa kid again, find out if, like, you know, him and his mum are okay. I maybe would have done that. A lot of houses
get destroyed.
A lot of them do.
You know what they need? Kaiju insurance.
Yeah. God. That guy would have a field day back then. Door-to-door sales are in.
I also like how a recurring theme of all three of these episodes is just people thinking Matt suck and saying it.
Yeah, everyone has so much doubt in Matt. When Matt fucks up, everyone, someone is always watching, and someone goes, "Damn, why the fuck do we even have them?"
Yeah, it's really funny how Kato's like, listen, we can't fuck up. We can't have less public confidence.
So these are like the three core things at the heart of Return of Ultraman. Is one, capital is the enemy, and it will ensure that whoever is like, follow the money, and you will find people that are willing to let a kaiju run rampant if it means profit. The second thing is Japan doubts Matt. Matt does not have 100% trust like the Science Patrol did or the Ultra Guard did. We are in an era of doubt.
Yeah.
And the third thing, which isn't about episode 21, but I guess we should talk about it now, is the third thing that Return of Ultraman loves is people just getting out of their hospital bed because their character arc for the episode's done.
Yeah.
They love it. They love that shit.
Yeah, like, it's weird how... Like, it'd be one thing if every now and again it's like, oh, this show treats, like, the whole, like, injury and disability thing kind of... It's like every other episode, it's really frequent.
It's like, we mentioned it as, like, a recurring thing, and then it came back another week, and we were like, it's weird that they keep doing this, and now it's back again. It's like...
what the fuck is going on?
You guys on one? What's happening?
I feel like I'd meet, like, the writing team for this show, and they'd be like, I hope you get over your bullshit soon. And I'd be like, oh, okay.
Shows like Uehara is gonna... God. Yeah.
I still like the theory that the reason that my mobility did get better later in life is because I didn't know it, but my Persona 4 Shadow Kaiju did get defeated off screen.
Yeah. Some kids threw themselves into a TV, and these kids from this, the Edogawa kid and the little girl. But yeah, circling back to episode 19, there's a different spin here, which is where they just verbally say, and I think what has happened is, this is my guess, is that the people making this show, someone heard about like psychological injuries, like psychological illness, like illnesses that are not like things wrong with your body, but rather are like kind of exacerbated by like psychological issues. And I think they've heard of this idea, and they've gone, "Oh, that's cool." And have just repeated this over and over again or something. I mean, on the one hand, no, that can't be the case. But they mention it verbally here, where they're like, sometimes kids, they act up their illnesses it's a psychological thing. They act up their illnesses to get attention. And it's very serious business. He could die from it. This is like slightly different from the next episode, which is Go is just like he's been burned because he got hit by the tail of like a magma monster, and they're like, full body contusions is rough. You should still be in bed. And he's like, no, I have to go. And Aki's like, no.
He's like, no, I'm the protagonist.
No, you're not going. And Jiro's like, shut up, woman.
I think there was an episode earlier on where Jiro tells Aki to make his dinner.
Oh no, Jiro!
Jiro's going down a dark path.
You know what? Ken's the problem. Ken probably passed this on to Jiro. And
Ken showed Jiro Rocky. Oh, wait, no, the timeline doesn't match up for Rocky, I don't think. Damn, never mind. I was gonna make a joke that Ken showed Jiro Rocky and was like, "This is the ideal relationship."
Ken's just getting away with it because he's not doing it while the cameras are on. So, yeah, this show continues with its weird aggression against the idea of being in the hospital.
And women.
And women. Being in the hospital and women.
Sexism, ableism.
Yeah, we haven't hit racism, but
pro-dinosaur.
Pro-dinosaur.
No, that's Tales of Symphonia.
Oh, I see. I see.
Still better than Ultraman 66.
Still better than Ultraman 66.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Difficult to be worse. You really have to go to great effort to be worse. But it's just I assume this weird fixation on just being fine will continue. We will be
honestly at this point
time.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like
I hope it shows up every session.
It has become a staple of this show. It will be one of the primary things I remember about it when we're done. Is that kid just lost his limp when the kaiju got destroyed. Go just train. He had an injured leg, and what he did to fix it was he carried logs up mountains, and you know, all sorts of shit. But I guess returning to episode 21, do we have anything more to say? Because it's, I think,
I know we talked like it, it's kind of going back to like that Ultra Q vibe, but yeah, I did think like, oh, this kind of has like the air of like a spooky little horror anthology mystery to it that I feel like has otherwise kind of been missing from Return of Ultraman, even comparison to like, Ultra 7 went hard on like the sci-fi angle or whatever, but like it's sprinkled here and there. You could still see some remnants of like Q stuff, and I feel like Return of Ultraman like hasn't really. Like, there's not really been all that much to, like, the horror stuff, and I feel like part of that is because the kaiju we've been getting has been a lot less alien and more, like, dinosaurian, like, in nature, that sort of thing. So to get one that kind of played with that was very nice and did feel refreshing. So I hope they sprinkle in a few more of these types of episodes later into the run, as we are rapidly approaching the second half, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
We're 21 deep.
yeah.
It doesn't feel like it. Can I say like it? I don't know why. Like it feels like we're still so early on to me. It's weird. Not like a bad way, but just like I feel like we just got here, but we've already covered 21.
Yeah, it's been quick.
We go at a good pace.
Yeah, we do. Three a week gets us through it.
I would die at 2 a week.
2, yes.
Same.
We would still be in. Would we be in early Ultra 7 or like late Ultraman?
We'd probably be early Ultra 7, I think.
Early Ultra 7. Yeah, that sounds
Holy
right.
shit.
We would not know the glory awaiting us of Dinosaur Tank. We would not know that Toru Narita got so mad about having to put a dinosaur on a tank that he quit. I love this. It's my favorite trivia about about the Ultra series.
It is pretty funny.
What a guy! My guy it's a show for children. You're fine.
I think my favorite piece of trivia I learned is still the fact that one of the kids from the fucking M1 episode was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done in my young life. My entire life is going to be tokusatsu film stuff now.
Yeah.
That's honestly very wholesome.
Sick. All right. It sounds like we're done talking about episodes of Ultra Return of Ultraman.
Yeah.
Color timers.
Color timers.
So, episode 19, 2 minutes, 10 seconds.
Okay.
Episode 20, 2 minutes 33 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Episode 21, 2 minutes 51 seconds.
Ooh.
Nice.
Good
nice.
week.
Kind of
Safe
close,
week.
but we're doing it.
Keeping them honest. All right. Do we? I know we
Yes.
have an email.
Yeah, the second half of Citrix's email.
Yes. Hello, Cydrixa. We're back.
Yeah. She said, so return stuff this week. First off, Red, alright. We're scraping at 3 o'clock behind Tesco's. I will prove to you the actual OP is better than Tasukai once and for all.
I will be there. I will be there.
He says he doesn't have a lot to interesting to say at this point because the interesting stuff that he can talk about doesn't happen until like the 30s. One thing he said he was
life.
surprised and I was picked up me next month. One thing I'm surprised none of you picked up on yet, or said aloud, is how Hideki Go is played by the late Jiro Dan, and the character of Jiro Sakata is played by Hideki Kawaguchi. I think that's an interesting coincidence.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It may not be so apparent now, but Seven showing up last week is not only a first taste of the whole Ultraman crossover thing, but will also be the start of you seeing how for next a while Seven is by far and away the most popular character, as well reflected in future stuff.
Wait, so seven is the most popular?
I guess in this era.
Hell yeah, they're
Interesting.
fucking right.
In terms
are
of
right.
the whole, well, isn't Seven a different continuity thing? By this point, Super Eye has just fuck it and folded Seven back in the Ultra Q with 66 continuity. Which is a better decision in the long run, but yeah, everything so far you've seen, except Ultra Fight and Red Band, is part of the main timeline now.
Okay, I assume there was a bunch of side stuff like I don't know, manga, or I don't know what the situation is actually.
Do you mean the 4 Return of Ultraman manga?
Oh,
Concurrent?
yes. I guess yes. There probably were a bunch of manga. Though.
Yeah, I don't know what the I don't know the deal with the manga. That's a deep dive. I'll have to look at.
All right. Well, that's
I don't know as much about the print media stuff.
People at the time were right. Ultra 7 is the best.
You did. Yeah.
They say not as much else to say this time, other than their hands hurt because they did write the entire lengthy part about Blazer in our Blazer episode.
Yeah.
Goes into our last Blazer episode, assuming you've watched all of Blazer. Which
Yes.
you can go do now. For free on YouTube. The show is done.
It is. Yeah. It's good. Mostly. There's his family could be in it occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and his 4 children that swap out whenever he meets his son again. This is like deep skipping the queue stuff.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I love how committed you are to this bit now. It's very good.
It's what happened. I'm gonna go back and edit the credits to include like 3 other different names under
Just make
under
up
the
people.
actor. Yeah. All right. Well, if that's us done, that's a podcast.
Well, you know what? I want to raise something else.
Oh, go ahead.
We've been at this a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe we could like just muse a bit about the past year. Not like a deep dive or anything, but just think about it.
It's been good. It's been a good year. I have often thought about like how quickly we kind of got into a rhythm. I think so. I think a couple of those early episodes are a little rough, but I think mostly we just done good shit.
Yeah, I agree.
My biggest regret is fucking up the audio recording where I got to have
Lol.
Red's live reaction to the ending of Little Jetman.
Lol. The ending of Jetman's fucking wild.
I just remember like saying it, and you're like, "Why did they do that?"
Why did they do that? Why did they do that? Bizarre. Yeah, I think there was like a weird gap where I needed to get my PC fixed. But I think we just did a pretty good job.
Yeah, plus
Yeah.
we're like halfway through the show now, so it's fine. We bounce back.
Yeah. I'm also feeling way more normal about editing most of the time. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I come into the chat and I'm like, maybe I'm terrible at this. But like, I bounce back. It's fine.
I mean, I think we all do that about our parts of the thing that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we've all had those moments, which is, again, just a normal part of making anything online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes
So-
when I'm like saying a thing about like in the intro section, I'll finish the episode and go, did I just sound incoherent saying that?
I don't know. There's like people that listen to us, and honestly, that's all I could ask for at the end. of the
Yeah,
day.
thank you all for listening to us. It's the first year of the
Yeah.
show. 4 seasons in, which is kind of wild that we managed to go at such a clip pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting shit done. Three episodes a week really was like I don't remember who mentioned it first. But
I think it's because literally I was like, that's what we did for the Common Rider thing that me and Fang still need to get fucking back to, and I was like, that felt perfect.
it was
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think I said like 2 to 4 is like the ideal, and since we're not like doing backup shows, then it makes sense to do 3.
Yeah. It's it was 3 was definitely the magic number. Thank you to whoever made that song. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
Next-
had a good time.
Yeah, it's been good. I'm proud of the work we've done.
Same.
I'm proud that I'm proud of us managing to be one of like the weirdest like moments of me being like that was good was us managing to be normal about Ishiro Honda, because every time I look into this online, it's always in the context of being like fans of Godzilla, and I'm like, this doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
This is irrelevant.
That I think that was a highlight of us covering. Like, also too, like this is a thing that like on the English side of the internet, like it does feel like a lot of this stuff gets covered not a ton, and when it is, it's enthusiast circles that tend to run really like they're deep in the hole, like, and we're coming from this of a place of variety of experience, and also we have other interests outside of this, like both in terms of other fiction and also real world concerns, that I do think we have our angle to approaching this stuff that I think the people who listen to the show appreciate, in terms of what we're interested in, what we're willing to cover, versus what I think your typical group of people online that are starting a tokusatsu/kaiju podcast probably not interested in the same things that us as a group of friends are probably
Yeah,
interested
and
in, right?
I feel like I appreciate the very specific readings and interpretations, and also by coincidence weird jokes that we've come up with, just like
Yeah, we're definitely people jumping. I think the idea of someone jumping into this podcast like later is really interesting to me in terms of like
We sound unhinged, I bet.
us talking about like how evil Ultraman is, and them just being like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Or how about, or I feel I can't imagine someone who's like joining for a turn but hasn't listened to original Ultraman season sounds when you just bring up Ide.
Ide's so important. He's so important.
He is vital to our reading
It's
of that show.
vital that Ide is out there like that guy like Schwarzwald in the Big O.
I'm also, while we're on the topic, I think we had an exceptional discussion of that non-malt episode,
Yeah.
and something that
I
I,
think
don't
it's-
think you would get from a lot of other podcasts.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the standout episodes. I think it's one of the episodes that go back to my head all the time. And I think it's like one of the things where like I think it's like an episode I haven't seen people talk about ever, and I feel like if you listen to our discussion of the episode, it frames a lot of how we read these shows. I think it says a lot that we're like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense as like a logical extension of what the shows are doing, whereas
Yeah,
opposed to
and then
like some
finding-
people who go, well, that's weirdly out of character.
Yeah.
Like I've been thinking about this a lot, and like this has been a lot of me thinking about Blazer versus Seven and Man and Return, and just thinking about us closing that gap in between. And like what I've kind of thought about a lot the past few months is like I went into this having, I mean, we all covered our tokusatsu history and what we have and haven't seen and all that stuff or whatever, and like I've seen tokusatsu stuff before and have enjoyed it and appreciated it. I don't know if I could call myself a tokusatsu fan. I think I'm a kaiju fan. I don't know if I'm a tokusatsu fan. And I think I like it enough to be able to do a project like this week to week and not get bored or burnt out. But also, too, like, I don't think I'm entirely sold on the genre and come to it from a place of, I don't want to say skepticism, but a place of, like, not immediate interest. Like, if I was alone out in the world and wanted to spend my free time enjoying a piece of fiction, I'm more likely than not, 9 times out of 10, not going to pick up a tokusatsu thing. That's just not where my brain goes. So I kind of have been appreciating being able to look at this stuff that, like, I just don't have a ton of personal history in or even vested interest in, and just being able to flex the critical part of my brain. And think about how these types of stories handle storytelling. It's been a lot of fun for me from that angle as well.
Yeah, and I'm definitely like more of a Toku fan. But I also like been thinking like, partly based with my own history, but also just like I think because of the nature of what this franchise is, I feel like I'm getting more out of it doing a podcast about it than I would have with other franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've seen most of Heisei Kamen Rider, and I guess that's true of like a lot of Heisei Ultraman too. But I also feel like I wouldn't want to necessarily do a Kamen Rider podcast, and I guess like Brad doing Kamen Rider podcast also means I don't feel like I don't need to.
Also, I'm like, well, let me tell you, we're covering that first show and then we're fucking finishing because life has not wanted us to do that podcast.
Kamen Rider Cougar podcast. Yes, good. Turn off the podcast every week.
Yeah. But also just like, would I do a Sentai podcast? I doubt it. Like I think just like the nature of Ultraman, I think lends it well to like the nature of like the meta nature of the franchise. I think lends it well to being like a more interesting thing to think about.
Your first mistake. Sentai fans aren't out here doing podcasts. Those are the ham radio people. They got their little groups.
Yeah.
The thing that I've the thing that I like about getting into new things, new scenes, is like the acquisition of guys. We have built up a real cast of people. Like, you know, the first couple of times Tetsuo Kinjo showed up, I did not recognize his name. I was like, oh, Tetsuo Kinjo,
yeah.
Who's he again? But you know, by the time we got like, oh, this is the last episode he writes for Ultraman, I'm like, oh no, that's bad.
Yeah, we still need to do the where is he now thing, I think, at some point. But
yeah, and you know, Jisoji, obviously King of Kings.
Toru Naruto.
I should say, I feel like this was important for me as a fan of just like Japanese video games, anime, film, like beyond tokusatsu stuff
Ultraman's
too.
So central.
So many people intersected with it that were influential to that scene, and more specifically to my immediate interests, which is that big bulge you get in like the 60s and 70s of like people that were heavily involved with like the New Left student movements and stuff. Like, you know,
Ultraman's big bulge.
God damn it. But like that group of like activist people that were very politically charged and interested in like, you know, protesting security treaty stuff and like that base being, you know, implemented and all that stuff or whatever, because the people that were involved with that trickle down to fucking everything that I'm interested in, like Gundam, other mecha stuff, just anime, like so many people come out of that like general cultural movement, and being able to learn more about it from the Ultraman side of things was also very useful for me personally.
Yeah, and I feel like I started liking the podcast we were doing even more when we started actually doing the production history stuff in like the Ultraman season. Like I did for Ultraman, I did like the production history like at the start of the series, but we didn't talk about the episode directors themselves until the Ultraman season. I feel like talking about the people who worked on it and like the historical context brought a lot more to make the shows interesting to think about and talk
It
about.
helps that so many of them are so fucking weird too.
Yeah, we got a fucking
Like-
gallery of freaks.
I like how you spent like an hour on Shoji Otomo kind of.
Yeah.
Actually, it was like two guys. It was Shoji Otomo and some other guy. I forget specifically. It was the name after this episode.
So I didn't expect to talk about fucking Aum Shinrikyo a week or two ago for fucking as long as I did, but that like that's the other thing too. When you look up that guy in relation to Ultraman, nobody's talking about that side of his stuff. Like, I had to go to like, you know, translated versions of like Japanese stuff to get like, oh, this guy is known for two things, and I'm like, oh, what's the second thing? Nobody talks about that on like, you know, English side of the internet, and it turns out it's a whole thing. So yeah. At the very least, I hope Ultra people that find us and like, you know, are like, oh, it's funny, these people have like no idea what they're talking about and haven't seen a bunch of the stuff they're going through for the first time, can at least appreciate the deep dives into like, you know, the people making this stuff and the connections we've made with how they intersect with others.
Yeah, and enjoy our heterodox but also very correct takes.
Yeah. What were you saying, Red?
The other thing significant about this is, I think the only thing that is as world shaking, as like reality breaking as me finding out it's possible to not know what Thunderbirds is, was what the curse that happened to Brad the moment Thunderbirds was mentioned on this podcast.
It fucking everywhere. What the fuck?
It's important. It's a big deal. I didn't know anyone could not know about it, and then it turns out it can, because you know it's a British thing.
Apparently,
I was about to say, I think you just needed to be more Americans.
Apparently, the Japanese wiki page for Tokusatsu lists Doctor Who and Thunderbirds and other Jurinus and stuff as Toku.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, it belongs there, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Tokusatsu just means special effects. So.
Let me tell you, though, ain't nobody in my fucking life ever gonna convince me to give Doctor Who.
No, you're good. You're good.
Too many.
Don't worry.
Too many weird and awful people in my life tied up in being big Doctor Who heads. I forsaken it.
I just wouldn't be able to handle the fact that a bunch of episodes just don't exist.
I'm okay. I cannot talk about this because people involved probably don't want me getting too much into it. There is a Dalek emote incident in the chapters of my group of friends that caused drama.
No,
what?
Okay.
I cannot get into it.
Okay.
I'll explain to you off mic, but in public they probably won't want me talking about it.
Fucking Doctor Who is not worth it. Don't do it. Absolutely not. I'm giving you the permission. It's like signed permission.
See, the thing that I allowed myself to mental gymnastics my way out of it is that some of those early episodes are lost, and as the context enjoyer, I'm like, well, now what's the point if I can't go to the old stuff and it's not all there? That's how I got out of it in my head.
I see. Thunderbirds, though, no fucking excuse.
I know. I actually, one of my favorite fucking podcast moments is me earnestly asking, is Lady Penelope their mom, and you fucking losing your goddamn mind. Fun times.
Is she their mom?
Yeah.
No. No, she's Lady Penelope.
Well, the listeners at home, this was your Brucey bonus this podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did I do that right?
That was a correct usage.
Yeah.
Well done.
Oh, yeah.
I've learned a lot about the British, actually, this podcast. I know what
an MB.
Whatever the fuck of the British...
an OB. A CB. Commander of the British Empire. But yeah.
We did a year. Congrats.
We did.
Thank you all for listening and joining us.
Yeah. Stick around.
We got big plans for your heads, like watching more Ultraman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, plan is still to continue watching the show.
Yeah. Listen, we're consistent, if anything else.
Yeah, it's nice working.
All right. Well, I think that was a podcast.
That's 2 hours.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
2 hours.
call it.
It's 8:15.
Yeah, the Blazer was long this week.
It was. Okay.
'Cause it was the last one.
That's fine. I had a big lunch. We're good. All right.
I haven't eaten yet today. I need to stop doing this to
Yeah,
myself. This is
eat.
like I feel like every other podcast now I'm going into this like, I'll be fine, I can eat after, and then I'm like starving to death about when by the time we're done. I need to fucking eat before these more.
All right. That is a podcast. We will see you next week for 3 more episodes of Return of Ultraman. Until then, also, no more Blazer for a while.
Yeah.
So
the movies coming out in a month. But after that,
I'll be gone next week. By the way, too, because I'm going to be at
that.
Frosty Faustine. So.
Oh yeah.
I'll do production. I'll send
Razin
my
back.
Yeah, true.
We're bringing Razin
One of you
back.
needs to do your best impression of me and do the whole episode now.
I'm not putting on an accent, so it's Mel's job. I'm just broadly implying that Canadian accents and American accents are exactly the same.
Listen, both of you one day will give me your best Midwestern accents.
Oh no!
I give you permission.
Like, I'll be honest, I feel like I've started noticing your Midwestern accent more as time has gone on.
Is it when I say bag, Mel? Is it when I say bag?
It's definitely there.
No, it's more when you say stuff like time.
Time?
Yeah, I don't know. Some words stand out more than others.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. Bye for now. See you in a week.
Goodbye, everyone.
Oh, fuck. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at ultra_Q. That is at ultra_QUE. Shut up. I am also on Twitter at gender_redacted. Mel.
I'm at Dick Crowns on Twitter and Blue Sky. We got an email, ultraqpod@gmail.com. We got a coffee, UltraQ Fund. You can follow us on either YouTube or there's an audio feed that's, Spotify for podcasts. It's also on other places you get podcasts. You'll probably listen to this that way. Brad, you go.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at BeInvoked. That's BE_invoked. You can find my YouTube channel, Canopus Invoke. I still need to get that fucking video out talking about my name change. That kind of just became a screed about where I'm at in terms of how I feel about making things on the internet, and just a meditation on that I hope to get out. It's been fun to noodle in my brain as I consider where I'm at with creating things online. So hopefully maybe look forward to that. I don't fucking know if that's coming out. I'm going to be spending most of my next week hanging out with friends in Illinois at a fighting game tournament, and probably getting my ass kicked because I did not fucking practice. So.
Damn. Good luck.
Thank you.
That is an episode. See you in a week. Goodbye, for real this time, unless we've forgotten anything. Last check.
No, we're good.
We're good. See ya.
No.
See ya, gang.
Goodbye.
Bill を壊すぞ地響き立てて吠える怪獣大怪獣ふわっと開いた口から炎辺り一面焼け野原間違ってない死が迫る帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン十字を組んで狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んでキック一発 近くに寄ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン戦い進んで見上げる空に一つ輝く僕の星遠く離れて地球に一人あれがふるさとだ正義と平和を守るため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ